gives me great pleasure to introduce you to the author. That was our book of the month last month, and it's called, it was July. I love the book so much. That was the book of the month for July. We already had our August, and now we're going into our September. But Sue Crum is author of Clear Your Clutter, 50 Ways to Organize Your Life, Home, or Business so you can become more calm, focused, and happy. Welcome to the show, Sue.
Oh, thank you so much, Anita. It's a pleasure to talk with you today. I
had to tell you, Sue, that I don't think anyone, no matter how organized they think they are, can ever have ever have a perfect house or office, because there's always stuff every day, whether it arrives in the mail, whether it's slapped on your car, somewhere there's stuff. So how about you? Do you ever have stuff you don't want?
Absolutely. What's happened to all of us is that it's coming in at all directions, all hours of the day, and like you said, from all places. And so it's really, really hard. We have to be like slaying dragons to stay on top of all of this. And I really talk about it in my speaking presentations, that we really have to be dragon slayers. Because if we just relax and get lax and say, well, I'm going to the beach for the next 6 months of my life or whatever, it just comes in and it inundates us. So we have to be on top of it and just kind of keep clearing it as we go. But there are some secrets to really taking care of it by not getting so much of it coming in at us.
Okay, get us started.
One of the things people can do is to stop it from coming in. Get off those lists. Go on to worldprivacyforum.org and get off the list of the junk mail. Start to reduce the things that are coming in. Get off the catalogs. Catalog Choice is a website you can go to and unregister for catalogs, because your list and your address has been sold to other people, whether you bought things from that catalog company or not.
And I know your book is so helpful if you want really to enjoy a book. And it's actually written with a lot of lightheartedness. So it's not really a textbook that's going to tell you do this, you do that. It's fun. And you are a fun person, I can tell. I'll bet that your seminars are just delightful.
Well, I love speaking to groups, and I have people say to me in the presentations, wow, the time just flew by. And another comment that has come to me often is, well, you took a heavy subject and you made it light and funny, because everybody's got stuff. I say, are you moving in, are you moving out, or are you just moving your stuff around?
Oh, my goodness, that's
And that's
great.
so true. I just worked out yesterday and the day before with the team on an unpack job. A family of 5, lots of boxes, big, long moving van. The joke was, are we back to the end of the moving van yet? Getting people unpacked. And people are all in, motion. We're moving in, we're moving out, or for some of us, we're just moving piles around in our own homes or our work environments.
Okay, I guess it's time now for me to ask you why you wrote the book. I mean, I'm sure you've had this book in your head for a long time, and I think you've written some other things.
Well, this one, I have a free ebook that your listeners can download right as soon as they finish listening to our interview, and they can get that at suecrum.com, SUECRUM.com. That has some simple strategies for clutter clearing that you can do now. So for any of your listeners who just want to know, well, where do I start and what could I do today as we're waiting for the book to come out, that was a great place to start. It's a free guide. It's about, 6 or 8 pages that just give you some great places to begin. And then when you get that free guide, you also will be getting the free quick e-tips for energized and efficient people. But the book came about because I have these different slogans, and you probably, from reading the book, you heard some of them.
Right.
Batch to the max, and the best date night of the week is the night before the trash man cometh, and those kinds of things. And I would say that in presentations, and people would just roar, and they would just laugh, And I'd say, well, coming up is the best date night of the week, even if you're married or even if you're not looking. And they'd all just be going, okay, well, I'm staying for this part. And so finally, my clients and people in the audiences said, you ought to write this stuff down. And I said, I think I've got certainly enough information that anyone in the world can pick up the book, pick up a chapter that's kind of talking to them. So where is the stuff gnawing at you the most? Is it in your calendar? Is it in your home office? Is it in your living spaces? Is it in your garage?
Oh, wait. How about it's the trunk? I love that. That was one of my favorites where this was the title.
Oh, good.
The title.
Yes, get the junk out of your
trunk.
Right,
get the junk out of your trunk. I love to buy a new car, Sue, because there's no junk in it, at least for a few weeks.
Yes, exactly. And that's the same reason, Anita, why we fall in love with model homes, because no one's living there and there's no clutter. So we love to go into model homes because it looks perfect. There's no plunger in the bathroom. There's no stuff out. There's no junk mail. There's none of that, and it's looking like perfect. And you mentioned at the beginning, how do you get to a perfect house? And I think that's too high of a bar to set.
Okay.
What we want to do is lead a happy life and be organized enough that we can navigate it, that we can do the things we want to do and not be burdened. So I help people both in my speaking and virtually. I have clients that live all over, and we do coaching calls. So for clients who might think, well, I don't know where this lady lives or whatever, she can't come over to see my garage or my trunk of my car, I help people by telephone. And we set up a plan and a purpose and a direction and where we're going to go and what's gnawing at people the most. So sometimes it's just starting with the trunk of the car or the glove compartment, somewhere small where they can start to see progress and success.
I have to share something with you. You know that I'm a gerontologist, and I've been into many of our seniors' homes. And the first thing when you walk in, you see, of course, they love their dining room table. But they can't even see it anymore. Stacks and stacks of papers because they don't know what to do with them. And then sometimes, I really hate to tell you this, they're on the floor, and it's really a hazard. They have to walk through and around all those piles of newspapers. They don't throw the newspapers out.
Mm-hmm. No, you're absolutely right. And dining room tables, especially for people that are older, they've stopped doing the entertaining, and then they've gotten into this, well, it's a piece of paper, so I better save it because it might be important. And then we kind of stop in the name of fear. So it's not like the Supremes, stop in the name of love. It's stop in the name of fear. I'm afraid to throw this out. But we have to kind of take a look at what we're saving. And what happens when our dining rooms clog up, it takes the breathing space out of our lives, and it really slows us down. It really zaps us of our energy. So for older people, it's kind of, they're in this catch-22. They're hanging on to the paper. Maybe they're not as spry as they were years back. Now with the clutter in the home, they're even less spry because it's taking the energy out of the space and out of them.
I have a favorite thing I do because I work on the computer, of course, and I thought that when you had a computer, now you're not going to have all that paper, but it seems like I'm printing too many things, and I have files, and I have file drawers, but every once in a while I don't get to file things, and it starts to pile up, and I got a big table, I put it on it, and then, of course, I'm going to have company, so I get out the big plastic bag, put everything in the plastic bag, and, after I got 3 or 4 of these big plastic bags, my husband, who is really meticulous, he doesn't save things. He said, now, you haven't opened those for a year. Why don't you throw them? I said, throw them out. Well, there may be some very important things in there. So you could see I'd be a great candidate for you, wouldn't I?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, you're licking your lips.
Well, I'm just thinking that you're human and you're real, because that is exactly what happens to many of us. It's somebody's coming over. Okay, quick, clear the table, clear the counters, and then it's just in a box or in a bag, and that's a tough spot. My recommendation for the next time that happens is maybe kind of think of your big table in quadrants, and then instead of bags, put them into boxes. So, like, these are the things that were in the left upper quadrant of the table. these were items that were in the lower left quadrant, the upper right, and the lower right, because our minds kind of remember location. So that's instead of a big hefty bag is all I'm saying.
Right, that's great. I wanted to say bingo when you said that. You're absolutely right, because when I was on my way to the studio, I needed to mail an envelope, and I have my desk. My desk is pretty neat, but there were some other things on the desk, and my husband was at the house, and I said, I need to mail this. Would you please find the envelope? He said, well, where is on your desk? I said, it's to the left, right over to the left, and it's probably the third thing down. You're right.
Right. So the next time for clearing a table, or for any of your listeners, so then the box gets labeled lower right quadrant, and you but you still have to get back in them.
Sure.
As soon as the company leaves, as soon as whoever was there goes, you have to schedule some time for that. And I think that's the hardest part for many of us. It's become like Scarlett O'Hara, where we'll think about it tomorrow, because today we want to play golf, we want to get out in the sunshine, we want to do some other things. But if we schedule small blocks of time, like 90 minutes to 2 hours of focused time, we can get a lot accomplished in that amount of time. So that's what I help my listeners, my coaching clients on the phone with, because we set up a schedule of when they can attack some things and where they can begin and start to see some success. Okay. And everybody's got it. I mean, my presentations when I speak, I've had, over 100 people, on a beautiful sunny day, and it's like, okay, no one's at the golf course, no one's out at the beach. They're worried about and thinking about their clutter because they've come to hear Sue Crum speak. And, I say to them, if you were the only one that had clutter, we'd be in a room just the two of us.
You're so right. No, I think
everybody's got the stuff.
It really is. I just want you to know this was such an important book, and that's why we chose it for our July Book of the Month. It's called Clear Your Clutter, 50 Ways to Organize Your Life, Home, or Business so you can become more calm, focused, and happy. And it is Sue Crum who is the author. She's an international speaker, a professional organizer, and an accredited real estate stager. And I want to go back to that now. You mentioned that about why everybody wants to get into a model home. So we know that I'm not the worst clutterer, but I certainly could use a lot of improvement. What do we do? I mean, so let's say, and I've heard this. I've read so many books that say, don't pick up a piece of paper more than once. Do something with it,
that's
right?
That's a hard one. I don't believe that. I don't think that. I don't think that's realistic, and I have heard other professionals say that. I don't think it's realistic because some pieces of paper require some thought and some next actions with other people, and more thought than just picking it up and doing that paper then. So in the book, if you recall, I talk about setting up a command center. And so as people process the paper, things that are only going to take 2 minutes, you put them in 2 minutes or less in a file that's only going to take 2 minutes to do. It's sending back the form. It's making the phone call to set up the dentist appointment. It's just short things. It's just one little action step that you can do in 2 minutes. So you pick up that paper, but you put it in a file that's called 2 minutes or less. Then you take time during the course of a day when you're going to do some paperwork, and you pull out the 2 minute or less file, and you can get through about 8 of those things in less than 15 minutes.
I love it. That, just
and you get a real sense of accomplishment.
Yes. That is so great. What I've done is I have my to-do list every day, and I guess everyone, not everyone has a to-do list, and I have little boxes, and when I get to put a check in it, I know I've done it. But then there are boxes that don't have the checks, and I have to transfer it to the next day. Then the next day has to go to the transfer. But now I have a lot more on the list. So, I'm always kind of a little bit in trouble here.
Well, it's looking at realistically what you have time for to do in a particular day, and if you can pick 3 of the things off the to-do list and say, these are the things I'm going to work on, and not focus so much on how long the list is or that you've got to figure out, I want to do 20 of those things. It's not realistic. Then you're setting yourself up for a failure or, kind of beating yourself up. But pick 3 If you got those done and nothing else happened in the day, you'd feel like it was a great day.
And do you still believe in file drawers?
I do, and I am a certified consultant with Freedom Filer, which is a self-purging label filing system. I don't think for many of us we're totally there at the paperless society. There are some organizers that really have gone with their clients all the way paperless. I find for most of my clients, they still have important things that they want to access, and they don't want to be depending on it being in the cloud or on a computer that's going to crash or whatever. So for any of your listeners that have absolutely no filing system whatsoever, they might want to look at freedomfiler.com.
Okay,
and
there's
down. A video on the website that kind of shows how the product works. And I get a discount code, so they could type in Freedom for the coupon code. They could type in RED, all in capital letters, and that would get them a discount. The product retails for under $35.
And what actually is it?
So it's not expensive.
What is
they're
this?
Labels.
Labels.
So they're color-coded labels. And what the founder has put together is, he says, our lives have things that are permanent, and those are in red labels, like the name of the hospital where we were born. We can't change that. Or the birth date of our dog. We can't change that. Those are permanent records. The year of our automobile, that's a permanent record. So those are in red. And then for things that change, he calls it remove, replace, those are in orange. So like a homeowners association. Maybe today it's called, the ABC Association, but maybe we're going to move in 2 years and we're going to move to the XYZ Homeowners Association. So you don't have to make new file folders and stay up New Year's Eve making file folders. That's my point. You can just remove the old one and put in the new one. Same for like a gym membership or athletic club, country club, that kind of thing. So those are remove, replace. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Now that's for people who have zero system or a system that has totally fallen apart. But for people who have a system that's working for them, I say great, but probably in your file cabinet you've got some files you can let go of and release to the universe and get shredded. And that'll open up some space. It's not go buy new file cabinets.
When we start talking about all this, and it's pretty serious stuff, we all have family members who we want to know where things are because something happens to us. So I would think that that's something, it's not clutter. It's just not in an area or a way that they can find it.
They have to have that serious conversation. And I do have a chapter in the book, I think it's called Get Real Reality, that none of us are getting out of here alive. And so, we really do have to, and sometimes our family members, I don't want to hear about it. You're going to live forever. Well, that's not real reality. So we have to find that responsible next generation person and say, look, I know I need to pull together some papers. Maybe I'm going to need some help from you, but let's talk it through by phone, or if they live nearby and locally, let's schedule a time. And then let you and I agree on where in my home I'm going to keep that, where it's going to be easy for you to find. And so for different people, it's different places. But it's a conversation that many people just postpone because they're thinking, well, that's not going to be me. I'm going to be the exception. I am getting out of here alive, and I don't have to worry about it. That's not going to happen. So it's a tough conversation, and certainly in your work as a gerontologist, it's real.
Very real. But Sue, so just getting back to you on a personal level, were you a teenager when were you highly organized as a teenager?
Never. Are you ready? I got voted the messiest locker in high school.
I love it. Oh, this is,
that's great. I'm telling you, in grade school, I was the one looking for the piece of paper when the teacher said, turn it in. I was the one with the broken pencil when she said, pencil's ready. I was like the youngest in my class. And so I felt I was always trying to catch up and keep up. And I really should have been in the class below me. That would have been more of my age mates. But my father had walked me down the street at 4 for kindergarten and turned me over to the school where he had gone and said, "Oh, she's ready." So I was always trying to figure it all out, and everybody else seemed a lot smarter and organized. And really, in high school, I got, not prom queen, not homecoming, anything. I got messiest locker. So along the way, though, as I continued going to school, and part of my world of work before getting into this line of work, I went to school at night, and I worked full-time during the day. I had to get organized. I couldn't, do messiest locker my whole life and accomplish the things that I had set as goals that I wanted to do. So I found some strategies that worked for me. And certainly the one, only pick up a piece of paper once, is not a strategy that ever worked for me. Unless I was putting it into 2 minutes or less, or just dealing with it that second that I had time for. But I did find that you have to go with your own strengths and things that are good skill sets for you. And that's why in the book I talk about the technology chapter, or is it a tool or what? I can't remember the title of it. I say something about a tool. But really, some people say, "Oh, you've got to get this latest." Oh, technology as a tool, not a tether. And some people, really are adept at that, and they pick up, and they're early adopters, and they just pick stuff up really quickly on technology and then try to convince other people to do the same. And it's not maybe necessarily their skill set. So I say, a paper calendar is great if it's working for you. Nothing wrong with it. But if you've got 2 and 3 calendars, and one's on the wall, and one's in the car, and one's in your wallet, and you make an appointment without checking any of them, multiple calendars will get us into multiple trouble. So we have to build on our own strengths. So that's just what I had to learn over the course of my life, because otherwise you don't get anywhere on time. You miss appointments, you miss things, you miss relationships with people, and people don't want to wait for people who are late and running around all the time. So we all get the same amount of hours each week, 168. We have to kind of say how we want to use those, because we never get that back.
Very smart. Sue Crum, C-R-U-M, author of Clear Your Clutter, 50 Ways to Organize Your Life, Home, or Business so you can become more calm, focused, or happy. She's calling in from Oceanside, California, and you can get her free ebook at clearyourcluttercoach.com or suecrum.com. And you will enjoy this book amazingly so. I just couldn't put it down. We were so happy to have it as the July book of the month because it will, whether you have a business or whether you're a homemaker, whether you're a grandmother, whatever you are, recipes. I don't know if you're organized. Some grandmothers have them all in a little box, all ready to be passed out. Some others have a big drawer, and all the papers just thrown in there from all the recipes. It just depends who you are. But one thing that I think Sue does say, and I love this when she says this, she says, deadlines are delicious. And what she's meaning are, if you have a deadline to do something, you really do feel accomplished when you finish it. And I know that. Also, calendars are king. That's just what she was saying, that you at least have to be somewhat organized to be able to look at a calendar. I have to pay my bills. I have this. I've had it as an accordion file. I've probably had it for 20 years. It is so ragged, but I still keep it, and I pay my bills according to, what's in that.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm organized in many ways, but I'm probably 50%. I really could do another 50%, and just some of the things that you've told me today will help me. But I'm hoping that a lot of our elder population will figure it out, even if you do just what Sue said and you quadrant your dining room table or wherever you have everything, or some people actually have stuff in their bedroom, a second bedroom, and they have it all sitting on the bed in different ways. I just recently had to finish some income tax, and I was not as organized as I could have been, and it took me months more. So now, with my 2014, I've learned everything now. I don't just sit it down. I just put it into files I made, but I think I'm going to do what you said. I like that idea that you told us about the filer, which is called
Freedom Filer.
Filer.com.
Freedom Filer.
Yeah,
Freedom. FREEDOM.
Right.
FILER.
Correct. Freedomfiler.com.
And,
yep.
And there's a video on there, and you have a chance to see the product. Seth Odom invented it, I'm going to say probably about 15 years ago, and it's just a label system. So it's very easy to put together, and if people don't have anything at all. And another reason why he put it together is he said one of the things with income taxes, the problem is we're in a new year, but we're gathering stuff from the previous year. So we're always straddling these 2 years. So 2014 started, but, here comes the government. We're needing to find the things from 2013. So he talks about odd year and even year. And so the files, the ones for income tax, are set up with a bar at the top. The black is even years because we're either in an even year, or the white ones are odd years. We're in an odd year. Those are the 2 years choices that we have. And it's just brilliant that he's put this together. So we don't have to stay up New Year's Eve and make new file folders.
Right. Well, that's
excellent. That on New Year's Eve.
Let's just continue along with what your seminars are. Do you have different? Well, see, I don't know if we have time. Let me just see. I think we're it.
Presentations.
Yeah, and you know what? I think we've just run out of time. But
Sue,
okay. I really
the book will be available probably mid-September, and people can sign up to get on the interest list. But it will be on Amazon probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Perfect.
And but in the meantime, they can get the free guide to get started.
Well, I'm going to love to have you back again. You're really fantastic, and I'm going to put to work some of the things you just told me today.
All right. Well, keep me posted on your progress.
I will, Sue. Thank you so much.
Right. Thanks, Anita. Thanks very much for thinking of
it. It was great.
Right.
Bye.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.